So this is a Sprite Major 4EB, just going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. Front of the van, you've got your jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake. We'll demonstrate these to you in person here on site. In the front locker, you have your 2 gas bottle tie downs, as you can see here. You can carry a maximum of 2 6-kilogram propane gas bottles on board the van at any time. On the bulkhead of the caravan, you actually have the gas regulator for the van. We do have the gas pipe available here on site should you need to buy the gas pipe work. It is £15 a pipe, and we can fit that during the handover should you need one. So like I said, maximum of 2 6-kilogram propane gas bottles. You can also store other accessories in there should you need to while you're travelling. Down the side of the van, you have your heating and hot water flue. This is very simply there to do the same job as the flue on the side of your house. So when your heating system is running or your hot water system is running, this is a flue to allow it to breathe essentially. You've then got your wind down legs. So through the hole here, you'll see there's a nut. And you put your bar on, which is in the front locker, and wind the legs down. You'll only put the legs down so they touch the ground, so it supports the van, rather than lift the caravan with these legs. If you lifted the caravan with these legs, it could potentially damage the floor of the caravan. You've then got your water pipe that drops down inside the acro. You need to make sure that it's fully submerged for it to work properly, so you have to drop it right down into the bottom of the water. You've then got your water pump connection, which you use by pushing down the blue trigger on top here, and then you push it into the side of the caravan and release the trigger, and you do the opposite to release it from the van. Show you how to fill the water system once we go inside. Then got your battery locker with your mains power lead coming into the battery locker itself, and that connects to the power on site, then into the side of the van. 2 fridge vents are very simply there to allow the fridge system to breathe, or to allow the heat out the back of the fridge unit. So they'll take out the hot air from behind the fridge, and then they'll take in some cool air as well. Behind one of those, you'll also find a gas flue for when the fridge is running on gas. Motor mover and wheel nuts. We'll torque the wheel nuts while you're here on site, so you can see they've been tightened correctly, and we'll also demonstrate the motor mover again, so you can see it is working as it should. On the outside of the van, you have your toilet flush tank. Now you need to put 3.5 litres of water in here and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use, and that is your flush system. So you just drop it in or fill the water through here, and then in the bottom you'll actually find there's a drain pipe. So before you travel, you can drain down the system. Now, I mean, you can keep hold of this by putting it into a bottle to store it in, but you pull the cap out the end, and then just drain it off. We advise you drain it off so it doesn't slosh about inside the van while you're travelling. Like I said, it's 3.5 litres of water in there and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use. The cassette at the bottom here is your toilet waste cassette, so you pull up the orange handle and pull the cassette towards you. You do need to make sure the flap inside the van is shut, so I'll just go inside and show you how to do that. As you can see, I couldn't remove it at that point. So we go inside the van, and on the bottom of or below the toilet seat, you'll actually find this grey flap, so you pull it back to the central position. So as you can see, when that isn't in the central position, you will not be able to remove that cassette, and if you do, it could potentially damage the toilet waste cassette. When it's in the open position, that's the position you use the toilet in, so it allows the waste straight into the cassette. But like I said, shut when you're removing that cassette. So I'm going to go back outside now, and I'll pull up that orange handle. The cassette will release from the side of the van. So when I pull that up, and pull it towards us. The orange handle there is also a pull along. It's on wheels, this cassette, so you push it back in and lock it back in place. The orange neck here turns out 90 degrees, so you can tip the waste away, and you'll remove this cap to tip the waste away. That is also a measure for your pink and your blue fluid. On the back of the cassette, you've got an orange pressure relief button, so that button there you'll press in as you tip in the waste away to allow the waste to come out without spitting and splattering back at you. Coming around the back of the caravan now, you'll see you've got your 2 wind down legs to stabilise the caravan again. Like I said with the front ones, you'd never lift the van with these because it potentially damaged the floor of the van. On the door side of the caravan, you've got your wheel and motor mover again, which I've already spoken to you about, on the opposite side. And then you've got your last wind down leg on the front left hand side of the caravan also, and again the same with that leg. Don't lift the van, but just stabilise it with that. Onto the inside now. And the first thing I'm going to show you is the trip switches for the caravan, which are in this cupboard down on the right hand side. Which you'll need to access from the top. So in here you'll find your trip switches. and your main power switches for the caravan. So in the far side, you've got your 12 volt fuses. And on the door that opens up down below, it'll give you a list of what each of these 12 volt fuses is for. You've then got your 240 trip switches in here, which is for your 240 power supply. If you hit the test switch here and this switch doesn't drop down, it means there is no mains power coming into the caravan. If it does, it means you have got power coming from the caravan site you're on. Each of the trip switches is marked up here, MCB 1, 2 and 3. And again, you have a list of what each of these is for on the inside of the cabinet door. On the far side of this control panel, you'll see it's got a system shutdown. So when I hit this switch, everything inside the caravan will turn off completely on 240. You've then got your reverse polarity, your charger switch, which you will need to have on for the heating for the 12 volt battery to charge on board the van. Then on the end here, you've got your heating and hot water switch, which again you'll need to have on for the heating and hot water system to work. You've got your charger down the side and your motor mover box as well. You don't need to do anything with this, but I'll demonstrate the motor mover while you're here on site. The other thing while we're in here, I'm going to show you, is the yellow drain down valve. So that yellow drain down valve, prior to filling the water system up, needs to be flat with the floor as it is at the moment. If you want to drain all the water out of the system on board the van, you'd flick the end of this switch, this flap up, so you'd pull this up and put it upright so it drains the water system down completely. We do advise you do this before every time you travel and when you're finished using the caravan for the weekend. So once that valve is flat with the floor, as it is at the moment, you can come over to your main control panel above the door, turn the power on. As you can see, it's now come on. You've got your awning light for the outside of the caravan. You've got your dimming lights for above the front cabinet on the central switch here. And you can dim those lights by using the arrow on the right hand side here, and it'll give you a percentage of dim at the bottom. So you turn them right back up so we know they're on. You've then got your roof lights of the caravan. So when I hit this switch, you'll see, for instance, all of the roof lights in the centre of the caravan go off. On the bottom left hand side, you have your water pump switch. On here, you'll see the time, battery voltage, and that you've got mains power coming into the van. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to every tap on board the caravan before we turn the water pump on. Obviously, we've already got the yellow valve shut below the seat, and we've got the water pump connected on the outside. Open all the taps up on the hot side of the water system. That's all the taps, the two sink taps and also the shower tap in the washroom. We're then going to come over to the control panel on the door, above the door, and hit the water pump switch. Once we hit this switch, the water system will start filling up. You do need to make sure before you do this that the aqua on the outside of the van is completely full. So as you can now see, we've got water running out of the taps continuously on board the caravan. At that point, you can shut all of the taps back off, and that will be the water system full. You do need to make sure it's on the hot side that you bleed the water system, and like I said, it needs to be every tap with water running out of them continuously before you try and warm the water system up. It will actually get all the air out of the system. That's why you have to run every tap, because you drain it down every time before you travel. Obviously there will be a lot of air in there when you initially turn the pump on. Once that system's full, you can come up to the control panel on the right hand side, just here. You'll press the central button to turn it on. So I'm just going to turn it off, show you how to turn it off. You need to turn this off before you turn the main control panel off every time. So you'll press and hold, and it will come up with off on the screen, and it will turn off. To turn it on, you'll press the central button, press and hold, and it will come back on. Once it's loaded, it will go into the main options for the heating and hot water system. So you'll see the first icon flashing here is your room temperature. If that icon's flashing, you'll press the black button at the bottom, and it will say off initially. Then you can spin the dial right or left to set your room temperature for the caravan. So if you want to, you can have it on 30 degrees, or if you want it off, you can turn it right down to the off position. And to set whichever temperature you want, again, you press the central button. When you've got the camper or the van symbol flashing here, you can spin the dial to the right and you'll be able to go to your water temperature. So again, we'll press the central button. So you've got hot water off, eco, which is around 30 degrees, hot, which is around 50 degrees, and boost for when you're showering on board the caravan. Again, to set any of these, you press the central button, and then it will come up at the top of the screen indicating what the heating system is doing, so the water system is doing. So it's boosting at the moment. When you've got the water symbol flashing, you can come across to the power supply that's coming into the caravan. So if you're off grid, you can run it on gas. If it fails to ignite on gas, it will come up with gas fail on the screen. Mix 1 is a combination of gas and 1000 watts of electric at the same time, so you can boost the system through this. 2000 watts and gas at the same time, again you can boost the water system by doing this. You've then got electric 1, where it's 1000 watts of electric on its own, and electric 2 is 2000 watts of power on its own. To select these again, you hit the central button, and it will allow the heating system to start operating on gas or electric, or a combination of the two if you have set it to that. The next symbol you see across is your fan speed for the heating. Now this won't allow me to turn this on for a minute, so let me just put some heat on so it allows me to do it. So now you've got eco, high, depending on how you want the fan speed to run, and that's very much similar to the fan speed in your car. So like I said, you'll just select the fan speed you want, hit the central button, and that will allow the fans to kick in. Down the bottom of the screen, you actually see there's 3 more symbols, and you spin across those by going to the fan symbol, then turning one more time, so it gives you onto this bottom row. What these 3 are here are some advanced settings for the heating and hot water systems. Now, if you want to operate these, the manual that comes with the caravan will have a full guide on how to operate the timers for the heating and hot water, control panel options, etc., and how to set the clock on here. Like I said, that'll all be done through the manual. If I tried to explain it in the video, I'd probably be doing the video for around 2 to 3 hours. Next up, we're going to go to the fridge. Now, the fridge is very simple to use. You've got the power button. Just here, you'll press the power button and it will turn the fridge on. As you can see, it's gone straight to mains power. So if you're on mains power, you can actually control the temperature of the fridge by pressing the thermometer button on the right hand side here. The more dots you've got lit up, the colder the fridge will be. Use the arrows on the right hand side here to select your the next power source. So as it's seeing mains power coming straight into the caravan, and we're on auto, it's going to go straight to the mains option on the auto mode. Next option that you see here is 12 volt mode. Now this is not the 12 volt mode from the 12 volt power supply from the caravan. It is actually from the car that you're going to be towing with. Essentially what it will do is it will allow the fridge to work as a cool box. So if you select the 12 volt mode once you connect to the car, with the main control panel turned off above the door, it will allow the fridge to operate as a cool box whilst you're travelling down the road, which means when you arrive on site, the beer and wine is going to be nice and cold. The next mode you see is the gas mode, or I should have said, sorry, on the 12 volt mode you will have no temperature control. It is only on the gas and the mains that you have temperature control for the fridge. Gas mode, the blue light here at the bottom is the pilot light for the fridge. Now obviously there's no gas on the caravan at the moment, so it is going to fail to ignite in a moment. When it fails to ignite, it's going to flash the blue warning light, or it's going to bring on the blue warning light underneath the warning triangle here on the left hand side. And it will also flash the blue light here, and it will also make the bleeping noise like it just did with the 12 volt mode on here. Again, on gas you can control the temperature of the fridge by pressing the temperature button on the right hand side. To turn the fridge off, you'll press and hold the power button and it will turn itself back off. The bed at the front of the van, you pull out the slats from the front here and it will allow you to set the bed up. You'll bring them right down to the brown hump section here, which you can put it into this rail here and it will lock it in place. The cushions you'll use to make the mattress up. You would need to turn this one over so you haven't got this hump section under your back. You'll actually spin this over and put it on the outside here. And the outside cushions will drop down the centre to set the bed up. Microwave works very much like your household microwave. Again, there will be instructions in the manual pack that's just on there. Hob, grill and oven all runs off gas, so you can operate that with the igniter on the right hand side here, as you can see. And that is, the cooker essentially works very much the same as your household appliance. The toilet seat does turn for your convenience, as you can see. However, when you're removing that toilet cassette from the outside of the van, again, you will need to have this in the central position. toilet waste tank full will illuminate red here when the cassette is completely full, and you have the electric flush button just here also. Taps all work like your household. They are mixer taps, so you can cool the water down should you want to. Do advise when you drain the water system down that you actually bring the shower head off and drop it to the floor or as low down in the van as you can, so the water runs back out the pipework, especially during winter storage. Bed in the rear of the caravan will actually lift up, so you can access the storage at the back of the van, and you'll also see the spare wheel is in here. You can also use this for storage inside of the van as well. So that's a Sprite Major 4EB. If you have any further questions on the caravan, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company, and we'd be more than happy to help. We appreciate your business, and we look forward to seeing you here on site soon when you collect your van. Thanks again. Bye bye.